EastEnders Reiss kills again, and it's serious peril for a TV legend killer. Reiss Colwell looks set to strike again in EastEnders next week, as Sonia Fowler finds herself in serious danger ahead of her upcoming exit. Walford's secret smotherer has been covering his tracks after he killed his comatose wife Debbie in her care home bed last year. After Sonia was wrongfully arrested, a jury later found her not guilty when a video of her sister Bianca Jackson confessing to the murder came to light during her trial. In reality, Reiss was holding Bianca hostage after she discovered his killer secret back in November and recorded herself confessing to Debbie's death in a bid to secure both her and Sonia's freedoms. Since her release, Sonia has been on a mission to see a copy of Bianca's video, refusing to believe her sister is guilty. After finally getting her wish, next week Sonia is still transfixed by what she has seen, but a panicked Reiss tries to convince her to let it lie. Later, a pregnant Sonia takes solace in the laundrette after a run-in with Mo Harris, but her health takes a turn and she heads to the hospital. After she eventually returns home, Reiss makes his excuses to secretly heads to the lockup, where he has been holding Bianca for the past few months. During his absence, Sonia decides to delete the confession video, but she is stopped in her tracks by a chilling discovery. When Reiss arrives home with an excuse about his whereabouts, Sonia confronts him about what she has seen, and a tense showdown ensues. But as a horrified Sonia tries to leave, a menacing Reiss blocks her exit. Fears will certainly be high for the beloved character, as last week actress Natalie Cassidy, who plays her, announced she had quit the soap. She said,
"After another 11 solid years back on the square, I have decided it's time to move on to pastures new. EastEnders is in my bones, so I will never forget where I started my career, and I will continue to love the show." With Reiss's secret threatening to come out, will he take killer action to silence Sonia?
Has EastEnders' Cindy Beale just discovered who attacked her? Cindy uncovers another clue. EastEnders' Cindy Beale thinks she has finally discovered who attacked her after uncovering another clue. Viewers will know that Cindy was attacked on Christmas Day after a mystery person hit her with a shovel, leaving her unconscious. After waking from her coma, Cindy returned to the square where she remained suspicious of the Beales, determined to find the suspect herself. Last week, Cindy accused Junior Knight of attacking her, but Junior said it wasn't him and that he still loves her. Later, Cindy accused Kathy Beale of being the person behind the attack, convinced that there would be some evidence tying her to the shovel. In tonight's episode, Cindy waited for news from the police about the new evidence in her case after handing over the shovel to them for testing. When the police arrived to talk to Cindy, they explained that the shovel had no trace of DNA on it, giving them no information on the identity of her attacker. "It appears it was wiped clean," the police told her. Cindy and Ian clashed over Cindy's accusations that his mum Kathy attacked her. "She hates me. She's always hated me," Cindy told Ian. Attempting to make peace at home, Cindy staged a truce dinner with Kathy. Things soon turned sour when she accused Kathy again. After discovering that Cindy was recording the conversation with his mum, Ian told Cindy to go and stay with Junior. "I suggest you find somewhere else to stay tonight," he said. When Cindy realized that the locket Ian gave her for Christmas had gone missing, she assumed that the person who attacked her must have taken it after hitting her. Who would bother to take that locket? Who else would it mean something to? Only Ian. "Ian was the one who tried to kill me," Cindy told Junior. EastEnders explains Grant Mitchell's return amid special Phil episode. The Mitchell brothers are reunited. EastEnders has explained Grant Mitchell's spectacular return next week, amid Phil Mitchell's special flashback episode. It was announced at the start of this year that Ross Kemp would be reprising his role as Grant in time for the soap's 40th anniversary celebrations. Phil has been struggling with his mental health in recent months. In Monday's episode, February 3rd, he attempted to take his own life and ended up falling in the pit in the garage. In scenes that will air next week, Sharon Watts is concerned about Phil following this incident and wants him to see the doctor, and he reluctantly agrees. But he is annoyed by her meddling, and back at home, he lashes out at her. As the week goes on, Sharon continues to worry for Phil. At number 55, his mental health keeps deteriorating, and he begins to experience hallucinations. Meanwhile, as Honey and Billy Mitchell's wedding fast approaches, Teddy organizes their joint stendo, and it is clear that he has pulled out all the stops for his brother. On the day of the celebrations, Sharon's mind is still on Phil, and after finding out through Mo that Phil paid for the whole event, she grows more concerned. When she realizes that he has disappeared, she orders a search party. While Sharon, Jay Brown, Billy and Honey frantically look for Phil, his depression continues to take hold. In a special episode which will air on Thursday, February 13th, Phil experiences psychosis and hallucinates scenes from the Mitchell family home in 1985. With the cast from the 2022 flashback episode returning, Phil's hallucinations will see him act as a bystander to a pivotal moment from his teenage years. Phil's negative thoughts spiral out of control, the two timelines begin to blur, and he talks to the characters from his past, while his younger self appears in Walford and in his home. In the present day, Jay tracks Phil down at number 55, and Sharon also arrives for a crisis talk. Phil continues to insist that he is fine and sends his ex-wife away again. Shortly after, Nigel Bates comes home with another visitor, who he hopes can help out Phil in his hour of need, none other than Grant Mitchell. Will Grant be able to get through to his struggling brother? EastEnders legend reveals why character doesn't want to come back. EastEnders legend Lindsay Coulson has reflected on her Carol Jackson days ahead of the BBC soap's 40th anniversary celebrations. Carol, who the star played intermittently between 1993 and 2015, has been notably missing during a number of key stories for her family over the last year. When she departed Albert Square, she had separated from partner David Wicks before riding into the sunset on a motorbike. She has been referenced several times since, though Lindsay has not reprised the role. This is despite eldest daughter Bianca returning to Walford and subsequently vanishing, with her relatives unaware that she's actually being held hostage by killer Reiss Colwell. Many viewers have questioned where Carol is and why she hasn't been back to save her daughters. The answer to that question? Lindsay Coulson is starring in the latest series of Waterloo Road, which kicks off on BBC One and iPlayer next week. Lindsay told us that her character Dame Stella Drake, who is the Academy's new head, is pretty strict and pretty old school.
She cares passionately about education. She's probably not someone you could particularly offer alternative information to at the moment. I hope she softens a little through the first season, she explained. I think she's just getting to grips with being at this school. It's a school that's had a bit of history in terms of murder, so she's trying to wing her way through that. I think also because she's been at Ofsted for 15 years previous to this, I don't think she thought she was going to come back into mainstream school, but because there was a problem at Ofsted, she's had to come back again. So I think she's slightly on the back foot with how schools have changed in that time. She's not always on top of everything at the moment, so I think that's why she comes across as being a bit strict and what she says goes. Stella waltzes straight into Waterloo Road and ruffles feathers with both staff and pupils in the wake of former Principal Steve Savage's imprisonment. I don't think she suffers fools, and she thinks this is the right way to do everything. I think she learns by it, and she learns a lot from Coral Lindsay explained. Despite looking ahead to the future, she also took time to pay tribute to her EastEnders days and to provide an update on where she thinks Carol is now. I was given a long time with great storylines to get better and better. It's about growing as an actor in that, and I was lucky to get some great stuff. It's brilliant. It's been going for 40 years, she said. It's brilliant that those actors and crew members and everybody that works there have that job, because without that, that's a huge amount of people that aren't employed. I'm really proud of having been a part of that. In my head, Carol Jackson is somewhere. She's done an Open University degree. She's reading books on a beach with a really lovely man in her life, and she doesn't really want to come back to that square at all because she'd end up working in the caf or the pub. I like that she's gone off into the wherever, and in my head, she's really grown as a person and is good. I really loved Carol, because you're also bringing your isms, my Lindsay-isms, to some of the bits that you do. Obviously, We're given storylines, and you have to fulfill that, but you can try and bring some of your sense of self to it. I always liked her as a character.
EastEnders' Sonia, to make chilling Reiss discovery ahead of exit. Sonia has a major realization after a health scare. Sonia has finally regained her freedom after spending months in prison, after Reiss killed his wife Debbie and allowed Sonia to take the blame in order to save himself. Although Bianca, who is still secretly being held captive by Reiss, has recorded a video confessing to Debbie's murder in order to clear Sonia's name, Sonia hasn't been entirely convinced by Bianca's claim. This week's scenes see Sonia being given a copy of Bianca's confession tape by Jack Branning, with horrified Reiss reluctantly agreeing to watch the clip with her, although he is left surprised by her reaction to it. In scenes that will air next week, Sonia is still transfixed by Bianca's confession video, despite Reiss's desperate pleas for her to put it behind her. Sonia later has a run-in with Mo Harris and heads off to the laundrette for some quiet time. However, she's worried when she starts to feel unwell, and she decides to go to hospital. Meanwhile, Reiss heads off to the lockup where he is holding Bianca hostage, and he's shocked by a discovery that he makes there. But when he hears about pregnant Sonia's hospital trip, he rushes off. Sonia is later sent home to rest, but once she and Reiss are back at number 25, Reiss hurriedly comes up with an excuse to go out again. He heads back to the lockup, and it is left to Yolande Truman to come by and check up on Sonia's health. Sonia then decides to delete Bianca's confession video, but she freezes when she suddenly makes a chilling discovery. Sonia is still struggling to process what she has found when Reiss walks through the door, full of excuses about what he's been up to. After Sonia confronts him, they become locked in a tense showdown. When Sonia then tries to leave the house, Killer Reiss blocks her exit. Could she be in terrible danger? Sonia star Natalie Cassidy announced last week that she is quitting her role after playing the character on and off since 1993, revealing that she has decided it's time to move on to pastures new. She has since further explained her decision to quit, saying that she feels it is time to be brave and take on new challenges. "I'm 42 this year. I just feel like it's time to be brave," she said. You don't want to get to 70 and think, "I never tried that."
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Reiss TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.